Slamdown is sponsored by BODYSLAM and Jam, and WWE SmackTalks and Impact Fan Nation. Welcome to another episode of Impact. I knew I was going to mess it up today. And it looks like the webcam wants to be a pain in the bum today. So let me just quickly sort this out quickly. Technology is really not working for me today. There we go. That's better. Forget what I just first said. Oh, look, my brain's just melting. Absolutely melting today. So, let's start over. Welcome to another episode of Slamdown Livestream. Today, we're going to be covering WWE Raw. I can't say it was a bad show, but I can't say it was a good show. It was chaotic. I think having Kurt Angle not being there was disappointing, especially for the UK fans. The UK fans would have loved to have Kurt Angle there and been able to see him in the GM role. The one thing I am going to say about being in the UK, the fans are louder. There was more chants. You know, on previous Raws, the fans are quite quiet. So it was nice to see that the fans were into the show. They were louder. They were appreciating the show. And it was good to see, you know. And they did it in the typical British way, you know, with Dean Ambrose chanting Dino. You know, only us can do this, you know. I know I want to quote Impact Wrestling here, so there was a time where Impact was doing the UK tour, and I think it was Loki, when he was a member of the Beatdown Clan and he was holding the suitcase. For those who don't know, we have a show called In Betweeners, and there's a geeky bloke that carries a briefcase, and he's called Briefcase Wanker. Anyway, the fans chanted at Loki, Briefcase Wanker, and it was absolutely brilliant. This is what I like about the UK fans. They're creative. They're creative with the chants, just like when we watch our football. You know, there's always creative chants. The fans get into it. You know, it was a really good atmosphere at Raw. It's making me looking forward to SmackDown as well, because, you know, I know that's going to be another one that's going to be good atmosphere. But sort of the American crowd recently is very, very quiet, and I can't work out why. I don't know if they're just not into the product, or I don't know. But it was totally different in the UK, and I think it even made Raw slightly better. You know, because there was more engagement. Because with American crowds, after WrestleMania, the fans are crazy. It's brilliant. But then it slowly drops down, and they get quiet. And it sort of kills the show. because I want to be able to hear the fans being vocal. I want them to really ramp up. It makes a better show, you know, especially when you're sitting at home and you can hear the crowd roar. You know, it's always been better, you know. I've went to a football game in the past where it was a dead crowd and it was just like, got boring. And I've been to games when the crowd are on it and the atmosphere is brilliant. You know, so I think American fans, when they're at the arenas with Raw or SmackDown, could learn from us. Be more energetic. Be creative with your chants. Get buzzing. But then again, it could be that the Americans are not into the product like we are. I don't know. Maybe it is because we only get WWE here now and then, and that's why we're so enthusiastic when we see it. One thing I will quickly bring up, when they were doing a taping of the UK tournament show, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for people, but the UK fans were chanting, "We want Mania." And I kind of agree. I think the UK should have a WrestleMania. You know, Wembley Stadium can fit WrestleMania. It's got the numbers that WWE would want for a stadium. So it is viable, and I think it should be done. I'm saying this because I'm from the UK. You know, if it was in I'm not far away from London. So if they did it, I can get tickets and I can go and watch it. You know, and we could get the whole Mania buzz. I really do think they need to do that and, you know, have WrestleMania access in the UK, even if it's just a one-off. You know, and it will also help the WWE in the long run with the UK fan base, because it'll feel like they are bothered about the UK fans and they want more engagement with the UK. That's my personal opinion on that. You know, so far we haven't had a pay-per-view from WWE for a long time. I think the only recent one that the UK had was Lockdown with TNA. But I can't remember the last time we had a WWE pay-per-view. I do think it's better when they pop over it. You know, if they gave us WrestleMania and then after that announced that one of their pay-per-views of the year was going to be here after that, I'd be happy with that. You know, I really think it needs to be done. I really do. And, you know, like I said, they'll get more engagement, give them a better profile over here. Because something that most fans won't be aware of is that actually, in the UK, the WWE is not number one. It's Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling get better numbers than what the WWE get. Like in India as well, Impact gets better numbers. So I think coming around and doing that would help them boost their numbers up and maybe even beat Impact Wrestling in the ratings. But we all know in America, Impact will not beat the WWE. They could try and get close, but they won't beat them. But abroad, Impact is beating WWE. People out there thinking I'm not slagging off the WWE. I'm just giving you the actual facts. You can go and look up the numbers yourself. Europe is mainly Impact. It's the way it's been for a long time. Even when Impact was at its lowest, it was India that was keeping Impact going with the viewership. But anyway, let's get back to the WWE. You know, I feel with the UK tournament and everything else, the next stage is they should have a pay-per-view and at least give us one WrestleMania. I think it needs to be done. It's been too long. Even if we don't get a WrestleMania, they need to bring back pay-per-views over here. Like I said, if you listen to Raw and you listen to how the buzz of the crowd, I'm just hoping the WWE listened to the fans. I'm hoping Triple H listened when they just doing the UK tournament TV show where the fans were chanting for, chanting at Triple H, saying we want Mania. You know, I hope it happens. I'm not going to hold a lot of hope, but I'm hoping it happens. You know, I feel we need it. Let's get on with the show. My major disappointment with this show was Kurt Angle not being there. I think it was gutting for the fans. I was gutted. You know, I really wanted to see the fans amp up with Kurt Angle in the ring. But like I said, we wasn't going to get it because I don't know why. I still can't work out why Kurt Angle couldn't be there. One surprise with me that Jeff Hardy was in the UK. Now, people who don't know this, Jeff Hardy's had a lot of problems with getting into the UK because of his history, his past. You know, when Impact Wrestling tried to get him over into the UK, they were never successful with a visa. So I don't know how the WWE managed to get Jeff Hardy over into the UK. I don't know if Jeff Hardy had special terms on his visa or how they did it, but in the past we've seen Jeff Hardy not allowed in the UK, especially with indie events as well. Jeff Hardy couldn't come and do any indie events in the UK due to his past records. Now, I'm not dissing Jeff Hardy, so don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing him. I'm just saying, you know, because of his past, he wasn't allowed in the UK. Because with visas, there's strict rules. But the WWE managed to get around that, which is good. You know, it was good to see Jeff Hardy in the UK. I think the fans enjoyed it. It would have been better to see Jeff Hardy in a match. You know, in front of the UK crowd, I think they should have put the Hardy Boys in a match. Just noticed on the comments that someone says Jeff's ban is over, so I didn't know if his ban was on a time scale. Well, that's good to hear. If Jeff Hardy's ban was only a temporary ban, because it must have been at least 10-year ban from entering the UK. Because I'm thinking of how long he was at Impact and the amount of Impact tours they did over in the UK. So it's got to be that sort of time frame. Just racking it in my head now. No, it's got to be longer than that. Because they did over 15. Was it 15 or 13? A number around that, and he couldn't be at any of them. Well, I don't know. But it's that sort of... No, actually, because he didn't come into 09. Yeah, it's got to be about 10 years then. Just thinking... Yeah. Well, it was nice to see Jeff Hardy in the UK. I think the fans appreciated it. I appreciated it. I think it was definitely a long time coming. But let's get into the Raw show. We saw Dean Ambrose was announced as acting general manager, and then we did find out as well The Miz is general manager made by Stephanie, which was quite interesting. I didn't see any news or any information on why Kurt Angle wasn't in the UK. I'm quite surprised by that, because Kurt Angle has got a big population over here. You know, especially, you know, when he did all the indie stuff in the UK, the fans loved it. So I'm surprised that we didn't see Kurt Angle on the WWE. Don't know if there was a flight issue or if they didn't get his visa in time. But to me, it was definitely a bit weird that Kurt Angle not being in the UK. You know, didn't make much sense to me. But we saw Dean Ambrose made a match with Finn Balor taking on The Miz, which I thought was quite an interesting match. You know, we did see Maurice trying to interfere, but Dean Ambrose came down, said the match is going to continue, and Maurice was banned from ringside, and the match continued, and then Finn Balor get the win, which you knew they weren't going to put The Miz over Finn. But I've got to say, The Miz is brilliant. I've never been a big fan of The Miz, but I think the way he's pulling himself off now, the way they're using his character is perfect. We saw Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss taking on Mickie James, which was quite interesting because we saw Nia Jax backstage saying about that Alexa Bliss didn't trash talk her, and it looked like there could be a partnership there, which could be interesting. We'll probably see a tag match probably next show with Nia Jax and Bliss teaming up, taking on Bayley and Mickie James. I think that's the way they're going to go with that next week, probably. But we did see Bayley come down the ring to support Mickie James on her match. But in the end, Alexa Bliss managed to get the victory. After the match, we did see Nia Jax come in to the ring and I can't remember who she attacked, but she came in the ring and I think she attacked Bayley, or was it Mickie James? One of the two. So that's obviously building up to the next match. We saw Braun Strowman was meant to have a match against Kalisto, which I'm quite liking the new I've messed his name up. I'm quite enjoying Kalisto's new look. I think it suits him. I like the way they flipped him up a bit now and they've given him more of a character. But during the match, we saw Roman Reigns calm down and attacking Braun Strowman. We all know Braun Strowman's got an injury, so I think this is the way they're writing him off TV for the minute, while that shoulder recovers. But that ended up in an attack. Through the whole match, we saw that Roman Reigns was booed. Heavily booed. So, I still can't understand why they haven't turned him heel yet. I don't get it. Don't understand it. But after that, we saw the Turmoil match, which we've seen in SmackDown. But now we were going to see Raw having a go at one. Which ran all the way through. We saw Enzo and Big Hags kick it off against Sheamus and Cesaro. We saw it and eliminated them. They eliminated Heath Slater, Rhino. They eliminated Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. And they eliminated Goldust and R-Truth when they pinned R-Truth, holding his bottoms for the pinfall. We did see the Hardys come down at the end after they kept attacking the Golden Truth. And we did see Matt Hardy do the delete thing. Now, a lot of people are saying that Impact Wrestling should give up. Let Matt Hardy use the gimmick. Right. Matt Hardy made 50% of that gimmick. 50% creative control. Jeremy Borash had the other 50%. Fact. Now, I can understand Impact Wrestling doing this lawsuit. The broken gimmick was made on Impact Wrestling TV. The way I look at it, if Impact said, do not use it, do what you want, Jeremy Borash should go, well, hang on a minute. I own 50% of that gimmick. I want paid half. And that's what Jeremy Borash should do. So I want half. If the WWE are using it, I want half the profits, which I totally agree with. So before you all go moaning, we want to see Broken Matt, you wouldn't see, let's think, let's throw this one an example. You wouldn't see Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan going to Impact Wrestling and using the NWO gimmick. Won't happen. WWE wouldn't allow it. So why should Impact allow the broken gimmick to be used in WWE? I agree with Impact on this. I understand Impact's standpoint. Totally agree with it. And we've just got to accept it. After that, we saw Seth Rollins take on Samoa Joe, which an absolute brutal match. I like the way they're using Samoa Joe. I would love to hear the fans start chanting against Samoa Joe's going to kill you. They're very using sort of a TNA Joe before they went stupid with him and started putting him in stupid teams where he was the beast. When he first started at Impact Wrestling, where he took people out. He used to make people bleed and then stuff like that. You know, the aggression with Joe is spot on. Hang on. Oh, excuse me. The aggression with Joe, I like. I think they're doing it perfectly. It's spot on. Absolute spot on with Joe. Like the way it's being used, the way it's being developed. Perfect. I like the way he attacks Seth Rollins, rip the turnbuckle pad and put Seth Rollins' head through it. You know, the whole aggression and build up to this, I'm liking. I'm really liking. I can't wait to these two to have a big match. You know, I think they should do a last man standing match to finish this rivalry off. After that, we saw TJP taking on Gentleman Jack Gallagher. We saw TJP get the victory. And then Austin Aries came down, attacked in TJP, which is obviously going to lead up to a match against them two at 205 Live. We saw, I'm going to call this a squash match because Alicia Fox is not at the ability as the other women on the roster. You know, she's nowhere near that level. I wouldn't say she's boring, but she's, in my eyes, not that great. Is the politest way I can put it. You knew Sasha Banks was going to win this one. Simple as that. Main event, we saw Bray Wyatt taking on Dean Ambrose. The match was made by The Miz. It seems like they haven't really got anything for Bray Wyatt to do. They haven't really set out for what Bray's going to do next. After the Orton angle, they've really just left Bray sort of hanging. You know, I couldn't see them put Bray and Brock Lesnar because I think Bray Wyatt couldn't overcome Brock Lesnar. You know, the only way they can get the title off Brock Lesnar is using Finn Balor or Samoa Joe. I'd say more Finn Balor, you know, get Finn Balor focusing on Brock Lesnar's ribs that Goldberg speared. Sort of go on the ribs on Brock. Make it a really close match and make Finn Balor win it. And then they could do Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. That would be a good match, actually. Bray Wyatt and then the Demon King. You know, Finn Balor would have to go Demon King. That's the only way I can see that alignment as a match to work out. But I do think at Bray Wyatt at the minute, they don't know what to do with Bray Wyatt. But it was a good, solid match. We saw The Miz try to get involved in Maurice. Bray Wyatt overcame, got the victory at the end. And that was it overall. There was no matches that I could really complain about. There was no matches that sort of were so-so. I've seen someone said that Seth Rollins will be champ again. I think he will, but I don't think he'll take it off Brock. I don't see him taking it off Brock. I think it's going to be more Finn Balor that's going to take it off Brock. And then lead up to another match with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I think that's what they're going to do. Because Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, brilliant matchup. Like when we saw the three-way. Absolutely epic matchup. I think that's the way they're going to go with it. I can't see them going it's any other way. I don't want to see Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar again. I've seen it before. I'd rather see someone else take down Brock. But like I said, you're limited. Because if you have Braun Strowman go for Brock Lesnar, for example, who's going to beat Braun Strowman? The way they could do it, and I don't like the way thinking of it this way, but they could do Braun Strowman beats Brock, Roman Reigns beats Brock, Roman Reigns is champion. Then they could go Seth Rollins beats Roman Reigns, or Finn Balor beats Roman Reigns. They can go that direction. So then they're not hurting Brock. But I think they need to let Brock Lesnar go now. You know, part-time doesn't work because they can't build anything on it. You know, we've seen him at WrestleMania and then nothing. So they really need to do something else. I think that's everything for this review. I've covered the news about the chance at Triple H. Yeah, I think that's it. Don't forget, if you've missed the start of the show, in probably about 10 minutes after this show finishes, we'll be able to watch on YouTube, or you can listen to the audio on slamdown.co.uk, or you can even download us on iTunes and listen to all our past shows on iTunes as well. Don't forget to add us on Twitter, which is at SlamdownLive. I've been your host, Ashley Friend, and this has been another episode of Slamdown. We'll see you again tomorrow with SmackDown review at 9 PM GMT.